So peas you can start directly in the ground, or you can do it from starts. With starts, it's much more of a guarantee. You can choose when they are going to get planted out, and you're going to get a better germination rate. But both are fine. We're going to show you doing it from a tray. And because you're going to need a few of them, it's good to use a tray, and then just you want to fill them up. And the size of the cell doesn't matter. It just depends on how long you're going to keep them in a tray before you transplant them. And now, when you're choosing your type of peas, you want to go with what you like, but you also want to just know if it's going to need to be trellised or not, right? There's peas that just grow like bush, and those don't need to be trellised. Then there's one that are like 3 feet that need a little bit of trellising. Then there's one that are like 6, 7 feet that need a big trellis. These sugar snaps, they need a big trellis, but you get more peas. They actually taste better. But you got to just do what's easier. It's going to be easier for the bush. That's just going to be less hassle. They grow a lot faster too, and you'll get peas quicker. And all you want to do is just stick 1 pea per, all right? And so you just give it a little dibble, and you're just going to be putting 1 pea in each one. But you can also put 2 or 3. Pea's not going to care, and you don't need to thin it out because you're just going to be planting it under the trellis, or if it's a bush, you're going to be planting it out in the grid, and it's going to be fine. Once you get your peas in there, you cover, okay, give it a good watering. What you can also do is you can soak your peas overnight, and that will help for germination. You could use soaked peas, and that works really well, but it's not necessary to do it. It'll just speed up the process. All right, so this is 2 weeks later. They're not quite ready to go in the field, but in another week, they'll be perfect, right? So it's about 3 weeks from the time you put it in the tray till you're going to plant it out. You can see I have 2, 3 in each thing, and they're germinating nice. You don't want to wait too long, because then it'll just become a tangled mess, and there'll be no way to separate them. So you want to get them before they become a mess. That's really the best time to plant them out in your garden. So peas, as I said before, you can direct seed them, and you can use the same tool, the zipper, to direct seed them, or you can use transplants. It's a really late spring this year, so I'm going to try with transplants. But peas just don't like the heat. So if it warms up really fast because it's a late spring, then we're going to be in a bit of trouble. And I just stick it in the trench. And if I get to the end and I still have more, then I'm just going to fit them in. You really can't plant peas too close. It's not really too, means you can put them right next to each other and they're not going to care. But you can see why I start a lot of them, right? Make a whole tray of them, because you're going to use them up. All right, so I have a few more. Just going to come back and fill in a little bit. All right, and then I just use the wing. Get them nice and buried. to see any peas. All right, I want them under the soil.
Can you say that last line again? I got a little ruffle from the hoe.
Okay. I don't want to see any peas. Right? I want to make sure that they're all under the soil. Great. So the peas. Peas are looking great. You want to make sure that they're up on the trellis. So you can either string them, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Just push them on if you want, if your trellis is low enough. And just get them to catch on there. You know, just push them on and they'll start catching on. And you just keep doing that every once in a while, and you know, you can even tuck them in. Not going to hurt them. And hopefully they'll start climbing up the vine, up the trellis, I mean. If it's getting to be really problematic, then just use strings like I have here. But you want a nice thick stalk and big leaves, and that tells you things are good. And even though these are like a nitrogen fixing plant, they really like to be fed, you know. So give a dose of fertilizer, especially if they're not looking good. They'll like it. Peas, these are doing fantastic. They're doing so fantastic they're falling down, and I'm going to show you what to do about that. I'm going to go get some twine and tie these back up. All right, so we just have some twine. We're just going to bring them closer to the trellis so they grab, you know, they have tendrils, and those tendrils are going to reach out and grab onto stuff. So we're just going to bring them closer to each other so they can grab on each other, and closer to the trellis so they can grab onto that. You eating peas back there, Zoe? Yeah?
What? I didn't have some for you? What? I love bees.
I know you do. There are a mountain of peas. All right. Much better, right? Now it's easier to harvest. It looks better. They're not falling all over the artichokes. How are they? So now we've begun the harvest. And a few pointers on harvesting peas is they're going to taste the best when they filled out, and these are snap peas, remember, so you're eating the whole thing. They haven't quite filled out the pod yet. See if I can find one.
These ones are beginning hot.
Do you have any really fat ones, Zoe, over there?
No.
Of course, we harvested them all.
I ate one fat one.
Oh.
Oh, it's the one.
Yeah, but I'll show you one that isn't ready so you can.
Fat one.
Okay, so
Really get tight.
you want about double the thickness of that. Let me see that one. That's a good one. Even this one, you want double the thickness, right? You want like a full-size pea inside. And that's when it's going to taste the sweetest. It doesn't mean you can't eat them like this. That's fine. But that's when they're going to be perfect, right? And when you take the tip off, you can just take that string off as well, see? And it's going to remove the string that comes along here.
Daddy, aren't.